Welcome to another beautiful day in the land of music. My name is Douglas, and today we're going to be talking about splitting sounds on the Nord Piano 6. Let's jump right over here, and just looking at the top panel of the Nord Piano 6, we have a few things going on here. We have our pianos, sample synths, and then in the center here, we have our program functionality. So we have this button here called KB Split, and it's got an on and off indicator. So if we just tap on that button, it turns the keyboard split functionality on or off. So let me just play. Turn it on. No difference. So even with it on, I'm not noticing anything because I haven't really set any of my layers up to be in different zones. So let's talk about zones here for a second. So on the Nord Piano 6, we have two different zones. And these two zones are our lower and our upper, and they're separated by a split point. Now on the panel here, we have different LEDs that give us the different possible split points for our two zones. So what we can do is hold down on the KB split button, and we have this menu that comes up, the keyboard split menu, and we can use the encoder to change the split point from where it was at F3. We can go all the way up to F6 or all the way down to F2. So this allows us to really designate between those two zones with this split point. So let's take some action to hear the difference between these two zones. To do this, let me just tap on Shift Exit to leave the split screen. And let's come over and let's activate our layer A here in the sample synth section. I'm going to go over and select a bass sound. So we're going to come into our category here, select bass. Let me turn the piano off for a second here. Let me try a different. Let's go with an upright. Now, we've got this turned on, so it's over the whole thing. But we want to put the piano in the upper zone, and we want the upright bass to be in the lower zone. So again, our split point's right in the center right now. I don't think that's very good because we don't need these notes up high here for upright. We probably want to stay somewhere in the bottom 2 octaves. So let's hold down on KB Split. Let's change that position down to maybe F3. So we're going to be mostly down in this range, and then our piano will be up in this range. Now, the way that we choose which zone a layer is in is with this KB zone functionality here underneath our layer buttons. So what this essentially is showing us is that our layer A, which is our upright bass, is in both the lower and the upper keyboard split zones. To change this, all we have to do is hold Shift and then tap on our layer A button, and that's going to cycle between up, low, or both. So we want this in the lower, then we can let go of Shift, and now we've got no bass up here, and then we have our bass down here in our lower zone. So that's pretty good. Now we need the piano to be in the upper zone. So let's turn that piano layer on by tapping on the layer on-off button. If you don't know how to use the layer functionality, basically tapping it turns it on and holding it turns it off. If we want more than one layer on at a time, we tap both of those at the same time. Same thing, turn both of them off. We hold both of them and it turns those layers off. So tapping on layer A. Now the piano's over the whole thing. We can see that here with our low and up LEDs that are lit. So let's hold Shift and tap on the layer A button one time to just put the piano in the upper zone. And right there, we're switching between our piano and our upright bass. So now we have an upright bass in our lower, a piano, acoustic white grand in our upper, So you've got that split now. Well, there's one other feature that I find to be really cool between the two different zones, and that's the crossfade functionality. Not something you find on a lot of keyboards, but nor does it so well. So let's take a look at that. When I have two sounds that are drastically different. Now, piano and bass, see the difference there? It's quite stark. So if I were to make a mistake, I'm down here. It sounds weird because I'm going from the piano, I accidentally forgot where my split point was maybe, and I jumped down and it just sounds bad. Well, we can turn crossfade on by holding shift and tapping on that same split button. Now there's two different settings. One is a negative and a positive 6 semitones. The second option is plus minus 12 semitones. So let's see what this sounds like. And then a third is off. So with one lit, you'll notice rather than a hard cut on my splits, it's fading the piano out and the bass in. And then when I get to the split point, it's doing the reverse of that. Now, if we move to option 2, which is a plus minus 12 semitones, it's even less pronounced, or maybe that fade is more pronounced. So again, with crossfade, if your sounds are quite different, like my piano and my upright bass are, even though I'm crossing that split point, it's not a hard cut in that sound. It's really nice, especially let's change this to, let's say maybe a string sound. So I've been moving across that split point and you don't hear a hard cut in those sounds. So that crossfade is a really cool feature. I use that all the time. If we tap the button, again, it turns it off so we can cycle between those 3 options. And if we want to turn the split functionality off, we just tap on that split button. And then it puts everything over all zones. And then we can easily activate that again by turning the split button on again. So really quick, this split functionality is going to be saved to the program. So when you store this, it'll store it to that program. And then when you call it up the next time, it'll be there and it'll store all of that information like the split point, the crossfade, and of course, the sound you have selected. So hopefully that was helpful, but if you have any questions, feel free to throw those down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, stay inspired and keep making that music.